Good evening and welcome to our December Committee of the Whole meeting. I'm going to go ahead and get started with roll call. Director Decker,
I'm here.
Director Barrows,
Here.
Director Zavala,
Here.
and Director Smith is tending to a family matter. I'm also here. Apologize for my voice. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Snell to get us started.
Thank you, Director Sproul. I have a couple of short updates. I want to start with our capital levy renewal and just kind of see if all of our guests are taken care of too as I kind of scan. Okay, so this is an ongoing item that I always just want to take an opportunity to bring to everyone's attention. The board took action in November on a resolution that will put a levy renewal for ballot on the ballot in February for our voters' consideration. This is focused on technology, safety, and capital projects. The board shared in the November meeting that they seek to keep an overall school tax rate very consistent for voters. Election day is February 11th. Historically, we've talked a lot about devices with this capital levy. You know, the world's changed a lot. It's maybe not as dependent on devices and more on access and your infrastructure and making sure that filtering safety, all the cybersecurity things are up to date. Subscriptions with curriculum, instruction, and communications are all very, very important. In addition, in the spring, we did outreach to our families and asked about safety interests. And so we would like to continue to upgrade controlled entrances, door locks, our camera system, things of that nature. And then also include some of the ongoing maintenance costs that you would have with any when we have facilities like we do that the community is invested in. We want to continue to take care of those over time. The tax rate structure looks like this moving forward. We've talked about, and Brett Blechschmidt has walked through the rates and why our bond is going down, and that's an intentional move by the school board to create capacity, and trying to keep right around this 350 mark has been a goal. I don't know if there's any comments or questions. I know this is information that you've seen multiple times, but just want to make sure that we continue to remind people that there is a renewal on the ballot for February.
I'd just like to say that I'm glad to see that we're using this for some of our safety needs, because those things have come up in the past, and they're, as we were reminded yesterday, they are important, and our primary goal is to make sure our kids go home every day safely. And so being able to use some of this to update and upgrade some of our safety needs, I think, is very important.
Thank you, Director Decker. Any other questions or comments? I'm looking, and it looks like we have 2 student reps here today for our student advisory report. Hoping that they're able to unmute, and I will turn on the slides here for you, and I'll walk through in the background. Just let me know when you would like me to move them. Welcome, Ariana and Christian. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening.
Thank you for having us.
That was perfect timing. I'll turn it over to you all.
Hi, sorry, I had to switch to my phone. My computer permissions aren't working, but my name is Ariana Lubena. I'm a 10th grader at Vancouver High-Tech Preparatory. I really enjoy student advisory because, I like leadership and I like advocating for my school community. It's really valuable to me. Outside of advisory, I really enjoy being secretary for my school's equity team and being a grade rep in ASB. Outside of that, I also really enjoy my forensic art and astronomy classes. So that's just a little bit about me. So to start, I'd like to go over our panorama belonging data and what we found in the slideshow that we went over. So We were looking at our district and our school goals, and the district goal was to improve from 41% to 45%, which we accomplished, which we're very grateful for. Each school has their own goals, and I believe most of them reached theirs, or at least were somewhat close. We've been working a lot with belonging in our schools. If you could go to the next slide. Okay, thank you. As you can see here, from spring to fall, we went up 4%, which is really great. We were wanting to reach that mark, and we'd been doing work, like I said earlier, in belonging. So it was really great to see that our work was paying off well. Next slide, please. So when we went over what our goals should be for this year, after seeing what had happened off of the work that we had accomplished, we were kind of all across the board. We heard some really good arguments for all of the sides, 50%, 49, 45, and all of the other statements. We're still working on deciding what our final goal will be in January, but we'll let you know when we have it. And then I think Christian will be going over the belonging interventions next.
My name is Christian Sowards. I'm in 12th grade and I'm a senior in high school. Oh, I just said the same thing. Senior in high school, and I'm 18 years old. One thing I really like about student advisory is it gives us a chance to come together and just to introduce myself, sorry. It gives us a chance to come together and to try to improve the school environment and school experience for other kids and to bring positive change to that, which is something I really enjoy. Some clubs I'm in DECA, which is a business and entrepreneurship program, and the Black Student Union, in which we try to promote Black culture and awareness. And I also do swimming as a sport, and I dance in my free time. And as Ariana said, I would go over the belonging ver video and the feedback we got from that. If there isn't a slide for that, oh wait. Okay, we're on the, oh. Okay, thank you. So we kind of got mixed reviews from people depending on which school they went to. I'm mainly speaking on behalf of Bay, but I noticed that although the video was a good opportunity and it was a good chance to really get our message out there, I didn't really get much feedback from any of my friends or any people I know from Bay. I know that a couple of my friends from Fort messaged me, like just saying like they noticed me, and like one girl from iTech said that I did really good in the video, but I was a bit disappointed to find out that we didn't get too much response from Bay. And although I think it was a good opportunity, I think the fact that it was just a video that teachers would play on the screen, there wasn't too much interaction with that. It felt like, teacher plays a video for ego time or just a specific selection of time in class. So I think what we'll try to do better next time is basically more engaging activities, such as like ones that involve debate and conversation, ones where students can like get a break from like the everyday like work environment and kind of have a chance to like really explore this side of the school life, which I think would be better. And I think another thing that we also mentioned during our meetings was having like, since a lot of schools thought of like food talks, which are basically like you try to like share food with other students, but also engage with them about belonging and see what they think. We tried expanding on like maybe different food options or drink options to make them interested, and we also got some direct feedback from some of the students who attended the river meeting last week. Some said that they thought of limiting adult presence to make room for more students, and others said they found sparking conversation with established groups was better than picking randomly select people for their discussions, which that was some good info that we got, and definitely nice to hear from students who couldn't be here tonight. But yeah, that was the overall review we got from our experience with the belonging video. Thank you.
So to go over the student talk, sorry, we have a bit more. If you could go back to slide 11. about student talks debrief? Thank you. We just have a little bit more. So like Christian was saying earlier, we have these food-based talks, which we've established in each of our schools. We collect some food using a specific grant money that we get, and we, I guess, round up some kids from our schools to talk to them about how they feel about their school environment. This is kind of a rephrasing of some of the panorama questions, but at least at my school, we also worked with our equity team to gauge which questions would be really helpful to hear from using student opinions. It's very valuable for us to get these student voices because they allow us to individualize the projects and the work that we're doing in advisory to better help each of our respective school environments. It's really great to see what people think of our school outside of just these data points in Panorama. We get to really see student experiences and what they've really been through, what they see, what they feel in the school. And that's been really helpful for us. Hearing all of those opinions just throughout the district between each of the schools, it's really helpful in our, I guess, gauging of how we'll take on our future projects. We talked about how the student talks went outside of just what we heard from the students. And we found that if we don't have enough marketing or advertising, some students wouldn't come because, the older you get, the more independence you have. And so lots of people just go off campus for lunch and they don't really need, I guess, the food. So they think it's overrated. But it was actually pretty fun, at least for our school, iTech. We got really, really great input. We need to put it into some sort of filtering software now to get it more concise for the district. But we got really great, really, really great input. Like, I cannot stress it enough. Just hearing student voices and what they truly believe and see was so enlightening because we only see some aspects of our school environment. Getting to see all of it was so valuable for us. And I think us showing that to you as well could be valuable in the future. We're going to keep working to make this better so that we can get the most efficient data possible. And we were thinking maybe instead of food, we could get some drinks. We know high schoolers love caffeine, so maybe Dutch Bros are the likes of that. And we're going to be working to compile all of the schools' data so that we can have a better, I guess, organized document to present to you guys in the future. So thank you. That's it.
I actually had a question for Dr. Snell.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right, thank you. I think you mentioned on last Wednesday, and it's also available in slide number 8, I think, but it says that we tend to see a drop in student belonging percentages for Panorama during the springtime. Is there a specific pattern or reason that causes that?
That's a great question, Christian. I'm going to pull up the slide so the board can see that again. We've noticed a trend that we've discussed in student advisory that whether we kind of hold our own or drop a little in the 2 cycles that we've done before. So we don't necessarily have an idea on that. In theory, it would be kind of like you feel more belonging over time at a school. You might think that, right? But something's happening in the spring there. So I know each individual school and you all might have some ideas about what's happening at your school related to that. One of the things that we talked about last year, if you remember, was like the reductions we were making during the time that we were taking the survey was really impactful for people. So we were thinking about that and how that might affect belonging. And that does turn into Christian, to your point, when we talked about like, I mean, it'd be really nice. You can see that most people in that group, or at least more than the others, selected 50% plus one. But there was a lot of discussion around like that drop, and maybe we should set a goal around 45%. So, do you have thoughts about it, Christian or Ariana, about the spring dip that we've seen?
At least for my school, iTech is a very unique environment because we're one of the magnet schools. We have a lot smaller student body, and I guess the way we operate is a bit different. But at least at my school, because of the early college, that can be very isolating for some people as the year goes on, which can add to that drop in sense of belonging. But I'm not sure what that would entail for the district-wide level because I know we're a college prep school, but I think that contributes to it, at least at iTech.
Thank you, Ariana. Christian, did you have any thoughts about it?
I also think that by the time the spring comes, a lot of kids just want to get out of school because it's a few months until summer vacation, because, it's a break. So I think by then, a lot of them just tend to clock out and be like, they're mentally ready to leave.
When in the spring is it done?
The window, I believe, is starts in March, but can go through April, May, depending on the school. So we have it open, but we also try to steer away from the state assessment window, Director Decker. So, and then I remember too, Christian, you brought up some great points last year about just like our running start students and the connections that they had to the school. So yeah, there's a lot of factors at play with it. Um, I'm just really proud of the student advisory over the last couple of years of really using that as an indicator. But I think as Christian and Ariana shared, like the student talks and other things are also really important indicators that they're using. And then they're actually taking action with that to do different things. So like a specific example from Bay last year is like the door decorating contest. Students said they really liked that and it had kind of went away. And so it was brought back based on this. As a direct outcome of the review of the data. Yeah, other thing I want to really compliment them with, and I did this in the meeting the other day because they're so great about like, how can we make this better? But you all know, like, it's hard to get everybody to do anything the same. And to think that these students developed a video and contributed to a lesson, and then across our district, every high school delivered that, every classroom, right? And we noted that some teachers who were more bought in, it worked really a lot better with their students, and some classrooms maybe it was more about compliance. But I think it's a great first step. And then
Yes.
you've heard that they already have lots of other ideas how to make that even better for next year. So I'm really proud of their work on that. And then the other piece is at a lot of the schools, they actually presented to the staff in a staff meeting about why this was important and potentially how to use it in their schools. So that's pretty powerful too, to have students telling teachers like, we think this is important. So just tons of compliments to them. And then I don't know if Christian or Ariana, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot like you did for me, Christian. Um, you both are doing the new internship, or are, yeah, right? Like you're considering that, and that's brand new as well. And I'll give it just a little bit of overview and ask if you want to share about this. We're going through CTE to get credit and paid internship for taking another level of student advisory leadership. So we have like 40 kids in student advisory. We have like 10 that are doing an internship. You're going to see the internship students on these calls because they're saying, I want more opportunities to lead. So I don't know if you have anything to add on your experience with that so far. We're trying to figure it all out, but yeah.
I know I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I've always been very passionate about leadership and advocacy and developing these types of skills. And so far throughout the semester, we started off preparing for our internship with taking certain courses to better understand, finance, jobs, employment, stuff like that. And we also got a choice of other courses we could take to better improve our education leading up to the internship. And I thought that was very, very valuable. We learned some very great lessons leading up to the internship. And now that we're getting into it, I'm just so excited to see where it leads because just already being in student advisory is great and getting to take that further step. We'll see how it goes, but I'm very optimistic for the second semester.
Kristen, anything you want to add? It's okay if you're good.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of Ariana's points, and I'm actually really happy that this is like a new thing because it shows that we're really making progress and having more opportunity for different types of leadership. And yeah, I just very thankful for it.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Thank you both so much.
Thank you, guys. So
Thank
Director
you.
Sproul, I will turn it over to Brett Lexschmidt to walk through the agenda. We'll preview the January is it 14th, January 14th meeting? I don't really want to think that far ahead quite yet, but I know we need to plan and make sure that you all are comfortable with that agenda that we're bringing forward. So Brett, I'll pull up the screen and turn it over to you.
All right, great. So yeah, we have just a single contract to preview in the traditional sense of a vendor, or in this case, another governmental entity. But we do have another topic kind of procedurally that we want to give you a heads up on as we plan the agenda and give you guys the opportunity to finalize the agenda for January 14th. So the first more traditional contract, ironically, after some of the conversations you just heard around the pros and cons of college credit, and is our resolution to renew the memorandum of agreement between Vancouver Public Schools and Washington State University. This has been in place since ITech basically started co-locating Washington State University. Just gives our students the opportunity, and as you heard, it may not be the best fit for some students that really enjoy that high school community, but those that want to pursue those credits, this is a great opportunity for those students and families as well. I know it's been a topic of conversation in the past, so I'll highlight that ITech is really representative of the entire district in terms of we use a lottery to award those enrollment spots, and the lottery covers the entire district and all comprehensive high school communities. So students that really would enjoy and appreciate this track have the opportunity to pursue it, whether they're regardless of what high school or comprehensive high school they're residing in. So any questions on the renewal of the memorandum of agreement for college class participation for ITech students at Washington State?
The other thing I would add to this is the board has asked us to expand opportunities for other schools as well. So this is a contract reflecting the ITech agreement, but as you know, we've expanded college in the classroom, partnerships with the University of Washington and other entities as well at all of our schools. So
thank you. And so then the other topic that I previewed is it's not a traditional contract that we would ask you to approve, but as we plan the January agenda, as we did in December, we're on a property where the district had no immediate needs or plans for, and so we had an interested party. So we went through the procedural steps of surplusing that property, giving the public the opportunity to weigh in on the relative merits or disadvantages of selling that property. As you know, there's been a community partner and possibly two community partners that are interested in the old Ogden School that was replaced by the new construction during the 2017 bond. And so as those conversations start to come to a head, we'll be recommending that we host another public hearing in January to solicit the public feedback. And since we haven't formally declared that property as surplus, and again, declaring it to surplus doesn't require a sale, it just opens the door for considerations of a sale. We would suggest that we agendize the hearing, and then subsequent to the hearing, action to surplus the property, which will allow us to continue those conversations with partners just to see if there is a mutually beneficial set of circumstances where that property could be used for the optimal benefit of the district and the community. So more to come on that, but just wanted to give you a preview of that while we're together this evening. Any questions on either of those topics before we turn it over to policy?
I just want to make sure I understand. So there won't be real any action on that as much as it will just be an opportunity for discussion.
Correct, except
for the surplusing.
Yeah, there is the procedural step of declaring surplus. And so, yeah, that would be the only action, but certainly no conclusive sale or final agreement on price or use. Those will be ongoing conversations, but we just want to position the public to weigh in on this topic, and then put ourselves in a situation where we can make informed decisions around the final deliberations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, should we move on to the policies? So we have our procedures that have been approved by Dr. Snell and will be updated at the end of the month on the agenda for public notice of that. And then for the policies that will be coming up at the next board meeting, we have two first readings. The first one is policy 3420, anaphylaxis prevention and response. And whoever's controlling the agenda. Thank you. So the updates to this procedure, to this policy rather, are based on WASDA recommendations and some new requirements of House Bill 1608. They're fairly simple. They just reflect that our schools can maintain a supply of epinephrine nasal spray in addition to the epinephrine auto injectors or EpiPens that they currently maintain. So just adding nasal spray as an option to have in stock. Policy 3424, opioid related overdose reversal. This is also an update from WASDA and reflecting updates to RCW 28A.210.390. Most significantly, the changes to this policy clarify that any person, which includes both students and staff members, may carry opioid reversal medication or Narcan, whether they have a prescription or just have the product over the counter. So any person can possess and in good faith use that medication when needed in our schools. So I'm very happy for that update to the WASDA model policy. And then last, we'll have the second read of policy 6220, bid or proposal requirements. As mentioned at the December board meeting, this updates our policy to reflect the statutory bidding requirements for small works rosters, and also has a few updates that the state auditor's office recommends regarding our use of interlocal cooperation agreements with other governmental entities. So those are the policies. If there are any questions about any of those.
All
I just
right.
have to say, I was just gonna say, I'm so thankful that we have the update on the Narcan so that people can carry it, because as we know, time is so crucial in reversing an overdose. So it's great the state finally said, yeah, sure, anybody can bring it.
So the next item is under teaching and learning. This is our monthly recommendation to approve instructional materials for use in the 24-25 school year. This, with each one, there's a detailed synopsis of what is being presented, and if there are any challenging contents are flagged in this as well. And then you also have the ability to drill down into the notes from the committee. We've hopefully structured those a little differently to make it a little easier to read. So appreciate the committee working on that. You can see the committee themselves and who's making the requests, whether it was moved forward or not, and a synopsis of those. So I don't want to necessarily go through each one, but I'm happy to call out anything or bring more information prior to the January board meeting for your consideration.
I just wanted to highlight, I appreciate on these recommendations, defining Spanish language versus like the target audience of these. So I appreciate that addition. And I guess I wasn't quite sure on the second one, if it also, the first one I know is targeting Spanish speaking students, but the second one, if there were other languages available for the number worlds levels A through G.
Yeah, that's something I can follow up with.
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head, and I wouldn't want to misspeak on that. So we can definitely follow up and add that to the notes, so everybody has access to that as well.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on the IMC material report? Okay, at this point, this is what we have for the agenda in January. With the winter break, typically we don't have a ton of add-ons because there's not as many actual business days in there. But as usual, if there are additions, we will note those for you prior to the meeting.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. With that, our regular agenda is concluded. We are going to recess to executive session for the purpose of personnel to discuss the performance of a public employee. And I estimate 20 minutes. And I will return if we need to extend that. Thank you very much. And the meeting is adjourned or recessed, excuse me. Good evening. It is 6:24 and our executive session has concluded. There is no action and our meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.